Hi everyone. I've put together this short video to speak about some of the sacrifices that I made in my sports science career. Just want to normalize that it's not a smooth journey. There will be ups and downs throughout the next few years of your life as you do pursue a career in this area. And I'm just going to hone in on three of those sacrifices that I've made over the past 12, 13 years of my life. So the first sacrifice I really remember in sport was selling off some of my stuff. So as anyone that knows me knows I'm a huge football fan. I've actually collected memorabilia over the years, signed photos, signed shirts. And when I was offered an unpaid internship, I needed money to fund certain things. So I went away, sold some of those photographs. I sold this jersey. It was signed by the whole team. Looking back, it's not the prettiest jersey. I can't say I miss it that much, but at the time it did mean something to me. So I sold that off in order to get money, as the team I was working for was sponsored by Nike. I only had Adidas or Reebok gear, and they said if you want to work with us, want to look professional, you need to go out and get some Nike stuff. So coming from quite a working class background, not a lot of money, I was a bit embarrassed to say I didn't have the money to afford it. So I did have to go out there and sell some of my own stuff to make it happen. There was also travel. So travel was another sort of sacrifice. It would be about 35 miles to get out of college, get two buses, and go to training a couple of times a week for this club. So that's money as well. So I did have to sell a few things, hustle a little bit to get the money to afford the opportunity that was given to me. And it's not for me to tell you what to do with your money. I'm only throwing this out as a consideration. But are there things that you can do with your money to help your career? I appreciate my example is a bit extreme, but if you're in a position where you do have a few quid, does that go on a shopping spree on material possessions? Does that go towards a qualification that in a couple of years could be the difference between getting a job and not getting a job? At the same time, you do want to have times where you spend money, enjoy it on stuff, but do try and have that balance is something I'd possibly bear in mind. And in relation to that, making financial sacrifices. So I did have weeks where my food bill would be that little bit lower because I needed to budget. I needed that money for something else, for my travel, for areas that related to my work experience, nights out. You might be a bit cheap one night. You might not go out that night because you need to save the money. So ask yourself at this stage of your life, would you make those sacrifices if it means there's something in the long term that can be really beneficial for you? Secondly, so I slept on a mattress in the living room for a year. Um, it's not as grotty as it sounds. It's not like a scene out of Train Spotting. But when I did return to Leicester when I graduated in 2013, I was given an amazing opportunity to go and work for my hometown club. Um, the flip side, the catch of that was I didn't have any money. I couldn't afford to get my own place. I wasn't earning a lot of money in that season, so it did involve going back to my mum's place, the only relative I really have in Leicester now. Um, and that was a one bed flat. So on face value, you think no chance. I do not want to live on a sofa for a year or a mattress, but it's one of the biggest clubs in the world for rugby. And if you're in a similar situation yourself, it's something to bear in mind. What do you do if you have to take that little hit in your life? And that's the question I'd ask. How badly do you want to do it? So that again could be an extreme example, but you might have your own example of something that for you is a step down, it's a sacrifice in your life. But the job itself, how badly do you want to pursue that career? And if it means taking some of those short term hits, living on a sofa, moving to another city, sofa surfing at friends, relatives' houses, having to cut down on certain allowances that you had before, if you really want that job, it's something that you may consider doing. Next is a really broad one, and I suppose this one is a lot more relatable to all of you who have moved away from home for university already, but with your career as well, being away from your family and your friends. And for the past 5 years, this has been something which resonates very strongly with me. I've lived in Germany, I've lived in Australia, now in Ireland, and that can be challenging. You're away from a lot of people that need you, and you're also making friends every couple of years. A new cycle of friends. You kind of lose those friends almost, or lose contact at least, and you've got to start again, a new city, a new country. So for yourselves, it's something maybe you've already done if you've moved away to go to do your undergrad degree. But as your career progresses, how do you cope with moving to new environments? When I fill in my forms in a new job, you have to put all your old addresses in. Got about 30 addresses. I'm 30 years old, so I do move around a lot, and it's something that I'm generally okay with it. But it's something for you to ask yourself: how would you deal with that if you're a bit of a homebird? And consider the fact as well that you might lose touch with close friends. Um, that's tough. You might say, no, we'll keep in touch, but you move to the other side of the world. It's difficult. You do drift away from some people, and that's very, very challenging to deal with if you've got a really close friend. And even more so, your relatives. If you've got relatives who depend on you, if you have an elderly relative who is not well, needs you close by to help them, but you get this amazing opportunity, what do you do? I'm not saying there's a right answer to that question, but again, it's something for you to think about as you're pursuing your career. You may have to move away, and you need to ask yourself, is that something I'm willing to do in my life? Okay, so just to summarize that, then, you may have to make sacrifices. I say may, you are going to have to make sacrifices. You already have, and there will be more to come, I'm sure. And there are times when you doubt the process. So for me, selling a form of memorabilia, I was almost gripping the guy's hand when he was trying to take it away from me to buy it off me. And there's certain other times as well when you're on a bus going 20 miles, thinking, what the hell am I doing working for free? But you have to see the long-term value of why you're doing it. So if you're in those positions yourself one day doing an internship, you've had a bit of a shitty day, you're not getting paid for the pleasure either. Just tell yourself why you're doing that. How is that going to be a stepping stone for the career that you want in the future? All right, so again, I tried to keep these videos short. I'm happy to elaborate though. If you ever have any questions, you want to know more about my sacrifices, or you want to discuss your own, there's the channels below. Just get in touch and we can speak more about that. Okay, thanks for listening to this, and I'll speak to you again soon.